Stand fast, all of you heretics! Thou art in thraldom to a deity most displeasing and very much not in keeping with the Curry Kingdom. Therefore I, Sir Memphis, have come to smite thee all. Have at thee all! Ah! On YouTube, it's your boy, the Memphis Accelerate, come back at you with the 100 days of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or every day for 100 days. We're dueling with a different deck every single day. Today, everybody, it's day number 7, the end of the first week of the 100 days, and it's time for a deck centered around the world gears of Theurlogical Demiurgy. That's right. It's a deck all about this giant length 3 boy that needs lots of high-level boys to be zoned out. And so I've repurposed an old classical deck that I made over on Master Duel. This is Voiceless Voice Horus, the voice of the sky god, as I call it. But now it's the voice of the forgotten god of the world gears. That's right. It's a deck all about using the Voiceless Voice and the Horuses to build giant, beefy boards that completely overwhelm my opponent. And we get out the world gears, and you know, he's our closer, our finisher. He's just a big old beast dick of a dude, and we're going to be going into it today. So we got ourselves our deck. It's thanks to Mr. Protocurity, who wanted us to take a look at the world gears of Theurlogicals, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to summon out this dude as often as humanly possible, even if it deters from my field. I don't care. I just want to summon this guy out all day, every day. So we got ourselves our deck. If you want the whole thing, it's at the end as usual. For now, we're going to go into the action, show off the combos and the wombos, the what do's and the what not do's, have ourselves a good old time. So, of course, hit the buttons and all the good stuff. If you have any deck suggestions, leave them in the comments. For now, let's get into the action and show off what this baby can do. Alrighty, everybody, our first opponent, another day and another card game. We can go first or second, but I prefer to go first, mostly because of how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is and mostly because of how the deck works. So our opening hand is a pretty beefy affair. Let's see what we can go for here. I'm feeling to start with our good old Saphira, Dragon Queen of the Voiceless Voice. She's very important because she lets us just immediately go into our ritual play. You know, I originally was playing things like pre-prep. Doesn't really, not as important in this deck. What's important is that we're going to be ritual summoning out our Skull Guardian. And we can use our low as a whole material. You can also just use any of the horses too. That's one of the nice little bits of synergy this deck has. We got our Skull Guardian. He's going to search us a monster. Low will come back to the board. That's going to get us nice and set up for our plays here. So good old Low, the rare, the Voiceless Voice. And as for monster, doesn't really matter too much. I'm just going to discard it for King Sarko anyway, but I'll just get whatever I like. So we'll get Low here. She's going to go ahead and set up our protection in the barrier. And as we go and as we do, this is going to let us get nice and prepared for what we're going to be doing later. You know, we'll just have all of the Horuses all set up and stuff. We'll have the Voiceless Voice boys to protect us. So let's go ahead for King Sark. Go ahead and get rid of him Thetty, because we don't need him just yet. We'll ditch, it doesn't really matter, just send Happy. We'll send Happy, and we'll send, I guess, Quebishkababa. Why not? Quebishkababa, my favorite one. Anyway, we'll summon back all the Horuses, and we're not going to go into Demiurgy. Oh, I guess I could just go into Demiurgy now. I suppose that is the whole point of the deck, so we'll be doing that. Why not? That's the whole point of this deck. So, as the dang mouse will let me, I am going to do that. There you go. So, we're going to use 3 monsters, and you do need to use monsters with different types and level and like attributes and stuff. That's where the Horuses are really good for this, because they're all different types, all different attributes. So we can immediately summon out the World Gears of Demiurgy. There he is. And I could nuke myself, but we're not going to do that just yet. That comes later. That comes later. I actually did consider, like, what are they called again? Oh, Lord, it's at the tip of my tongue. They're on the tip of my tongue. What are they called? That one Link archetype. Abomination. Unchained. That was it. I forgot their names for a second. But yeah, basically, I was considering them in this deck as well, just to plus off of the whole field nuke thing, which is a cool idea. The only reason I didn't really do that is because there's not a lot of high-level monsters in Unchained. There are some, but getting all three on the board at the same time is possible, but not as worth it. I mean, if this was a quick effect, yes, but otherwise, Triamids. Ooh, Triamids. You Triamid play. I don't know where I'm going with that. But yeah, my opponent's playing some Triamids, and is this just straight up Triamids, or are you going for Adamanticators too? I mean, I have a Triamid deck myself that does have Adamanticators in it, so okay, Triamids it is. Very much an underrated archetype. Definitely prime time archetype for card talks. That'll have to be a video in the future after we do Monarchs. But yeah, now my opponent's just doing his thing. He gets another normal summon off of this thing. Any earth or water monster, get another normal summon. Get yourself the Triamid Master. What does this even do? Send a Triamid card, target a set card, and blow it up. Okay, but what if I just... Well, let's activate the Silent Forcing and just leave it on the board. That way this does nothing. Just in case. Just in case he was trying to bait me out there. Yeah, personally, I've always thought, like, what is a better name for the Voiceless Voices? Is it Voiceless Voice or Silent Forcing? Hard to say. Silent Forcing does sound kind of cool. But Voiceless Voice kind of hits hard. I don't know. Leave it in the comments. What do you think? What's a better name for this bunch? Voiceless Voice or Silent Forcing? That's all I'll say. So, but yeah, what against the Triamids? I've said this a million times, but it's a weird thing with the Triamids. Like, they have this loading as, like, the only support they've ever gotten. So they're a very small niche archetype, but they have an interesting game, like, an interesting little gimmick that they got where they try to go from one field spell to the next, and all the different field spells do different things. The only problem for my opponent is he didn't draw a field spell, meaning he can't really do much of much. Okay. Unless one of these is Metaverse. Of course, that could be a thing. If he's got Metaverse, that could be a thing. As for us right now, I really do kind of just want another copy of King Sarko. It should be great. That would be absolutely fantastical, because then I could just wipe my own board out, but that's not the case here. Let's see here. What doth I wish to do? Let's see. I have a really silly idea. So first off, we're going to use our Bury the Voiceless Voice. Just deck thinning, as one does. We just got to deck thin a little bit more. I'm thinking, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to go ahead and nuke myself. But I need a little bit of setup before I nuke myself. Very important. We'll go ahead and use our Pharaonic Guardian, ditch Saphir, just to get the other horus out of the deck. Who's left? Happy? No, it's Duamfe. Gotta get Duamfe going. Alright, very good so far. So let's go ahead and summon back. Any two, really doesn't matter who. But we're actually going to go for three. Yeah, we'll go for three monsters, but the first two don't matter, because we're going to use them as our Xyz material. We're going to go for good old... Let me double check Dingirzu. Pretty sure that works. Let's see. Yeah, I can protect. That'll work just fine. Very perfect synergy right here. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to summon out our three monsters, and we're going to summon out Dingirzu, the orchestrated, giant cello beast. And I'll go ahead and just send one of my opponent's cards to the grave, just in case. There's not really much he can do to interrupt me, but just in case. You never know. It could happen. What are you going to do? I do expect Metaverse to be in this deck somewhere. Considering that field spells are so important to, like, Triamids, you gotta be having that somewhere in here. But we'll see. I mean, the thing is, if he chains something, I can negate with Skull Guardian. Really just depends on what he's got. Alright. So we'll send this card to the graveyard. I don't trust it. Triamid Pulse. Neato. But let's go ahead. Demiurge! Destroy the unworthy with your giant gear powers. And we should be all set. Dingirzu will protect us by detaching a material, meaning our board lives, the opponent's board dies. And that, my friends, is where we're at. So that is exactly what we want this deck to do. That is our entire stratagem. I'm just trying to do math in my head to see how I get Demiurgy and everyone else to get, like, kits in. Yeah, that'll work. So we'll get the Horus to do some damage. We'll get the Skull Guardian to do some damage. And then last, but certainly not least, our Demiurge. Oh, I should have put low in attack mode. Either way. But that's the whole idea of this deck. Perfectly put to right. That is what we want to see happen. The Voiceless voice on the board does, you know, be a protection, be an Omni Negate, the works. The Horuses have a whole bunch of monsters that they can go into, but more importantly, we go for the Demiurgy, we nuke our opponent, and our board stays safe. So that's what we want to see. Let's go for duel number 2. Show off more what this baby can do. Alrighty, second opponent. Let's go and do it again. Alright, going again. Let's see where it goes. 1, 2, 1, 2. Where are we gonna go? Alright, once again, we'll try to go first here. There we go. Opening hand's an interesting affair. I mean, I always like to start with the Voiceless voice part. That's the more obvious thing that our deck does that my opponent, you know, they're going to imperm that pretty dang quick. It's what they do. But that's fine, because now I can go for our King Sarko combo line and do other things. As soon as my damn mouse allows me to click buttons right. Alright, so let's go ahead and ditch a couple of our boys. I also have Nibiru. I mostly keep this in here for, like, crossout. I don't need it right at the moment. So let's just get, like, a bunch of these Horuses in the graveyard. And we're going to go for what I like to call Plan D, which is drop all these boys on the board and kind of just wait. Just wait a turn. I think that's just fine. I will summon out... I can summon out... The whole point of the deck is to summon Demiurgy. But I don't have the defense to keep him alive at the moment, so I'm just going to go for Almiraj. And we'll call it a turn for now. You know, we'll summon out our Demiurgy next turn. I think that will work. Let's see. Yeah, this will work. What is this? Polywally? Into what? There's no way of telling. What could it possibly be? Burst of Dragons? Musician King? That? Okay, it's just one of those. Okay. Interesting. So this is a Chimera deck. Okay. That's not too terrible, I think. Let's see. Send a random card. Opponent's hand to the grave during the end phase. Oh, whatever. I can live with it. Let's see. What is this doing? Trip this card. Summon a Chimera Fusion dude. Okay. I assume that's the level 4 or 5 one that searches the fusion? Yeah, 5-star. It's a 5 because he's Baphomet. 5-star Baphomet. He's a 5-star. Okay. So this is just, yeah, Chimera Fusion doing the only one of these I ever remember the actual effect of is Guardian Chimera, which is ironic because that's really not part of this group of cards. It's like a totally separate thing. But I know, yeah, he's gonna Fusion Summon, summoning at this Abomination. This card Fusion, so send a B. Send a monster to the graveyard, bring a dude back, yada yada. Okay. And then monster I did its effect while he has Chimera, which this counts as. They both count as. Okay. I mean, so far this doesn't seem that bad. Not really. I mean, I've got Almiraj. I was really expecting more of anything else, but this works too, I guess. So he's gonna attack an Almiraj, but we'll use his effect just to, you know, get him off the board. We'll protect Duamfe just to protect that guy, because why not? He does have the Mirrored Knight, which he'll actually negate for some reason. I'm not sure why, but okay. But we're pretty set. I mean, he can't really battle into me right now. He did get rid of my Skull Guardian, which admittedly hurts my feelings, but that's about it. So let's go ahead for Barry, the Voiceless Voice. You'd think I just immediately go for my Demiurgy, which I will do in a minute, but not yet. Soon. Very soon. But let's go ahead and search out low. Because my plan here is, let's see, normal summon, get Saphira, ditch Saphira, yeah, that works. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Summon out the world's gears, Pachamba, and then we'll nuke the board. Unless these things have something to negate field nukes that I'm completely unaware of. Yep, there goes the board. Alrighty. Now we'll summon out Low, the prayer of the voiceless voice, and get ourselves an Omnigating. I think we'll be just shy of OTK here. Oh, we can bring back a dude. Oh well. I don't think that's gonna matter too much, unless I'm very mistaken. Target one of your band. Okay, summon this guy back. Cool. Interesting. Okay. Okay. I mean, he's still doing stuff, and I don't appreciate that. I don't really like it when I'm trying to do stuff and my opponent starts doing stuff. Not a big fan of that. Stop it. Adding another dude. Good lord, dude, it's my turn. Stop it. Alright, I've already used these effects. Darn. Oh well, doesn't matter. Demiurgy, just keep doing your thing. Who do I want to destroy, though? I don't think it matters, but I'd rather get rid of Gazelle. I think. We'll find out. Either way, I mean, World Gears is immune to all monster effects. So long as my opponent doesn't have like a Regeki, as long as they don't play Regeki, we're fine. We're fine in that case. I don't think any of these dudes get bigger than World Gear. I could be very mistaken. We'll find out. I mean, this guy's 2400, which is not a small beat stick. But it's not like it's huge or anything. Let's see, target illusion in the graveyard. You and your illusionary boys. Stop it. You're under this illusion that you stand a chance against my World Gears. This guy's big and in charge, man. Besides, Mirror Knight won't even work on this because he's immune to all monster effects. Which means you can't negate him with monsters either. Let's see, Ascent to the graveyard, target illusion in the graveyard, summon it in defense mode, blah, blah, blah. Summon out more dudes, summon out... He's doing something. Yeah, I have to give it to my opponent. You know, despite the size of this beast, he is still going. So, what are you going to summon now? Get your fusion spell back, because that is a quickie effect. It is a quick spell. A quick spell, as they call them. Okay. Okay. Certainly putting in the effort, but can you beat 3,500? Can I top deck into my other... Oh, there we go. Guardian Chimera. There he is. Uh-huh. Yep. I mean, he certainly got rid of my barrier, which kind of sucks, but whatever. Let's see. Yeah, Corn Boy doesn't do anything. That's fine. Almirage. You know what? Let's bring back Almirage. Just to, you know, I don't want the World Gears to be lonely. I don't want him to be lonely and not have a little buddy with him. I'd rather him not have that. Let's see. Alright. Diviner of the Herald, not bad. I'm gonna go ahead and use Almirage on World Gears, which won't do anything, but, you know, my opponent doesn't know that. Alright, bring you back more stuff. You can keep doing that all day. I have a once per turn field nuke. I don't think this can be nuked, though. Or something. Oh, I couldn't target it. That was it. Okay. Let's go for Diviner of the Heralds. It's time to bring down the Herald. My opponent, he's got to be running low on stuff at this point. Yeah, he ran out of stuff. I knew it. All right. So, once again, that's the power of the Demiurgy. True, completely vulnerable to Raigeki and Sakuretsu armor and things of that nature. But in terms of dealing with the deck that's all about monster effects and using monster effects to rid us of our stuff, Demiurgy is a very powerful weapon. You know, it's a very powerful card, able to just deal with any sort of nonsense of that nature. And that's my opponent. His primary thing was using monsters to counter monsters. Monsters don't stand a chance against the Demiurgy, okay? Unless it's Obelisk the Tormentor, but we don't talk about that. Anyway, that's duel number 2. Let's go ahead for duel number 3. We have time for, just the one more duel today. It's just going to be, you know, just a couple today. I try to keep it around 3, 4 if we're going super quick. But I think that one more time for certain should be good. Alrighty, everybody, the third opponent, the fighting third. Let's go all in, because so far our deck is unstoppable. I mean, don't get me, just the fact that we have like the horus alongside the voiceless voice is powerful as it is. But when you combine that with a demiurgy, it's pretty much untouchable. Pretty much. Alright, let's go ahead and get our Skull Guardian, Guardian of the Skulls. Are you going to potentially hit me with Drolly Lucky Birdie? Be very ironic, because I also play Drolly Lucky Birdie. Let's see. Yeah, other than, our hand's pretty basic, but at the very least, I'll start with the Skull Guardian. He'll last me a turn or two. That way I can just, interrupt my opponent to a degree that they, they won't be able to one-shot us or nothing. So as soon as I get my Horus boys going, then we're all set. Alright. Click button, please. This mouse, it's a gaming mouse, and yet it still wants to do these things. Alright, let's go ahead for our Skull Guardian. That'll search as Saravis. Low will come back onto the board so I can get my trap set up. And I'll be all set. Alright, Low, to the board. Get Saravis. That way I can prevent any sort of targeted nonsense. That way I don't have to waste my Omni to get on like an Imperm or something like that. So yeah, let's get our trap card so that I can pop some stuff. Like a bit of the barrier of the voiceless voice. That way I can just deck thin even more. And I usually just like to, I could get other Saravis, but there's really no point in getting him now because I need more spells in the grave for that to work. So we're pretty set there, and I haven't normal summoned yet, so let's go for Diviner of the Heralds. Because why not? Deck thinning the game, people. Deck thinning the game. Alright, we'll ditch off our Herald. We'll use our Herald. That way I can just search out my last Ritual Boy. Well, there you go. There he is. And we are all set, I'd say. I think, though, let's go for Almiraj again. I'd rather not leave an obvious weak point in Diviner, if I can help it. But we'll end our turn there. And so far, so good. No sign of Demiurgy just yet. He's taking himself a 5-minute coffee break. So, he had a really tough time today with, like, having to field nuke literally everybody. So, give the guy his coffee break, okay? He'll be back. Alright, what do we got? Fire Kings? Okay, Fire Kings. They're all about nuking and puking. I will Drolly Locky Birdie, I think. I don't want you to willy-nilly search things if I can help it. I'd rather you not do that if I can help it. Although the one thing that's going to be a bit tricky is that Radiance destroys stuff, and Fire Kings are all about destroying things. It's kind of their shtick. So it's not an ideal removal, but there's certain cards where there's like a nuke and not make a big problem. Temperature. Okay, I kind of figured from the name this is Dinosaurs to some degree. Jurrac Megalo. Okay. Discard 2 cards, clicking Jurrac, draw 2 more cards. So this is not Fire Kings at all. This is, in fact, Jurrac Dinos to some degree. Okay, cool. Let's see. I feel like I should pop things. I don't think... Let's see. Yeah, let's pop that field spell. I don't trust it. I don't trust the field spell. If I remember correctly, because I have played Jurrac once before, like the new stuff. This is the thing that lets him summon out Meteor on my turn, right? If I do too much stuff. Activated effects of 4 more let's see. Activate monster effects 4 more times. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. I'd rather that not. Alright. So he's got Heat of the Fire Charmer Ablaze. Summoning out, I assume, Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Yep. Balls. This is not good. This is actually low-key becoming an issue. So this is going to special summon it, add a poly from the grave to the hand. He doesn't have poly in the grave that I'm aware, but he does have another bird. It's not quite a bird, but it looks like a bird. Alright. Ulti Conductor Tyranno. Thankfully is smaller than Skull Guardian. But he can only attack Skull Guardian. And my opponent surrenders. Which is a bit unfortunate, because I was really hoping that duel would last a little longer, because my opponent wasn't quite dead to rights yet. But I guess it's, I would be able to negate this, so that was like his only thing he had. So, you know what? That was too quick. Let's go for a 4th duel. I think we've earned it. It'll be a little longer today, but you know what? One more duel will not kill us. We need one more chance to get out the Demiurgy. He's had his coffee break. It's time to get back into the action. All right, everybody, the fourth and final opponent, the last chance at romance. In a day that's been full of romance, this deck is doing phenomenally well. We're getting out the Demiurgy pretty consistently. I mean, we missed one duel, but it's not going to be the end of the world. This opening hand's a little iffy, but it's very much a horus opening hand. Let's put it that way. So let's go ahead and discard a couple of our cards and see where this goes. Yes, ash me, please. That's all part of the plan. This is why we play the cross-set designator. Ash. Bluffin. Yep. See, this is why we run this. We don't want that to happen to us. We don't want to see no ash blossoms, no Nibiru's, no drolly locky birdies, none of that nonsense. Okay. An interesting situation, this one. All right, what are we gonna do here? I'm thinking, the King Sarko. The King Sarko. We're gonna go for Imseti. We're actually gonna hard activate the ritual spell, which I rarely do, but today is the day for doing so. So, prayer to the voiceless voice. All right, so it's light monsters. Imseti, you're not a light monster. That was a silly thing, but it's okay. It works either way. It works either way. Let's go for Skull Guardian. Skull Guardian will add ourselves low. That way low will get us set up. All right. Low, do your thing, girl. So this won't be like a hand that feeds... It won't be a board that speaks with a mighty power, but it's a start. Let's put it that way. You know, I'll get my barrier. We'll use our barrier. Let's get... I can't get Seravis. I could get... No, actually, I can. Because if I get Saphira, I can discard Saphira, which will ditch my other spell, add myself my Seravis. All right. Not bad. What is in my graveyard right now? The Ritual Summon Seravis. I'm thinking I could have a monster to stop special summons, but I think we're okay. We'll be fine. What's the worst that can happen? All right, but we have ourselves a neat little board here. We got our Skull Guardian to negate stuff and protect everybody. Even if my opponent could attack Imseti, the King Sarko will protect him as well. So I'm seeing a pretty nice thing. All I need to do is draw like another card, provided my opponent doesn't target me or stuff. Let's see. Saja of the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Cannot summon except for dragons. I like the classic art. Very cool. Got the Blue Eyes on the board. And I assume you have a maiden in your hand. I would assume this because what else would you do this? Okay, summon the Blue Eyes. What was the other effect? Banish this card to do the fusion. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm against the Blue Eyes White Dragons. A very cool bunch of dragons indeed. They get like so much support. It's between them and Dark Magician. In the Duel Monsters series, they get the most support. Alright, well that didn't help you. That didn't help you very much at all, sir. Okay. Well, I think that means it's time to do as we need to do. We're going to go ahead and use the King Sark. Ditch ourselves happy. Happy. We'll go and use our barrier as well, because just, again, deck thinning, and I just need a lot of discard fodder to do stuff. So we'll get other Seravis. Old Man Seravis, who I assume turns into the dragon at some point in the lore. I don't know when, but... Or maybe Seravis turns into the man? I don't know. I don't know what he's into. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and bring back everybody. Bring back the horses to me. And this should allow us to just, like, win the duel here. Just thinking how I want to do this. So I go for my World Gears Demiurgy. I can bring back Imseti still. So I'm thinking if I just ditch Seravis. I'm sorry, my friend, that does not work. Good effort, though. Good effort. So I'm going to ditch Seravis because I'm not going to need him anymore. I'm just not going to need him. I'm sorry, my man. World Gears is immune to your little fairy boy. Your little fatty boy will not avail you much of anything. You're just gonna have to sit there as I go for my good boy Dingirzu. In fact, I'm not gonna use Dingirzu's effect. The whole point of getting Dingirzu out at this point is just to protect everyone else. Ah, you tricky dicky. You trickster! A good effort, but you're playing way too many hand traps. Way too many. Less hand traps, more plays. That's what I say. So we'll go for our Demiurgy. And my opponent surrenders right before we can nuke the board again. But that's okay. That's okay. We got the Demiurgy out. We got about 3 times out of 4 duels. That's pretty good. So let's go ahead for the end screen. We'll talk more about this deck. Alrighty, everyone. The Voice of the Forgotten God. That's the name of today's deck. We went 4-0 on this deck, which is very good indeed. We got to summon out all the things. You know, the Horus engine, as much as I hate that it's like so pervasive at times, it's actually, it really just depends on what you're doing with it. I honestly like the Horus engine. It's very versatile. There's a lot of things you can do with it. There's big, powerful things you can do with it, like going into Voiceless Voice and combine with this thing. There's the silly things you can do with it, like I don't know, making very silly Xyz monsters. But regardless of that, you know, we got the Horus engine doing their thing. We got the Voiceless Voice providing their support and us protecting our monsters from battle, negating stuff and the like. And it's very easy for this deck to go into the Theurlogical Demiurgy. You know, it's all about just summoning out a bunch of monsters with different night. Like the Horuses were made to do this. They had to have been. There had to have been someone at Konami who said, "Hey, I remember this dude. I want to make it easier to summon that dude." So I really like that they work out perfectly with this deck. There was a lot of different methods could have been used to summon out Demiurgy, but I like this one the most. So hope everybody at home enjoyed today's episode. If you did, don't forget to smash the like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, because we're very nearly edging out to 890 subscribers, which is just another step forward to our ultimate goal of 1,000. And tomorrow in the 100 days, a deck I do need to work on a bit more because I haven't done this deck in like forever. We're taking a look at World Chalices, which I know how to link summon, but I'm trying to figure out like all the lines. Still working on all them loopty-loopty lines, but you know, we're going to be playing that tomorrow and having ourselves a good old time with it. So here's today's deck. Hope you all enjoy it and, you know, give it a shot. So for the main deck today, we're running on 1 Nibiru, which we use for our crossout. 3 copies of Imseti. We have 1 of Kwebish Kababa, 1 Happy, 1 Dwumphet. You know, the typical Horus engine there. 1 copy of Seravis, because we can tag this dude out for the Ritual Monster. We have 3 copies of Saphira, the Dragon Queen of the Voiceless Voice. Very important for starting up plays. Triple Ash Blossom, partly for our, again, cross out, partly just to stop my opponent from willy-nilly searching. 3 copies of Diviner of Herald, because I can normal summon it, ditch my Herald, get Ritual Monster, and then link it off for my Almirage, so that's pretty good. 3 copies of Lo, which is very important, because without her, Voiceless Voice does absolutely nothing. It's literally important for her to be on the board, because she does give our Skull Guardian his Omni Negate, and when she does get summoned, she does get us one of our Voiceless Voice spell traps, so very important card that. 1 Drolly Lucky Birdie, again, cross-like designator target. We have 1 copy of Seravis, because he allows us to negate targeted stuff, and if he happens to be on the board, he can negate summons too. 2 copies of Skull Guardian as our Omni Negation. That gets really big and protects our monsters so long as the barrier's on the board. 2 copies of the Prayers of the Voiceless Voice, our ritual spell, which normally just goes to the grave and that's it. But if I do lose my ritual boy, I can banish this to summon out the other copy from the deck. It's pretty dang good. 2 cross-out designators to stop hand traps and all the like. 3 copies of King Sarko for our Horus engine. 3 copies of Barrier of the Voiceless Voice, because it protects all of our monsters from being targeted or being attacked, so long as I have Lo and a light ritual monster on the board. 1 copy of the Walls of the Imperial Tomb, just to make Horus just a little bit more consistent, just a hair bit more consistent. 3 copies of Imperm, just in case I go second, I need to negate things. 1 Canoptic Protector, which can let me summon out the Horuses on my opponent's turn, in case things get kind of weird, but also because I can discard this and I'll get it right back, so it's pretty useful. And 1 Radiance of the Voiceless Voice in order to pop my opponent's stuff or recover cards. As for the extra deck, we have things like Almirage, Masquerena, Little Knight, pretty basic stuff. Dynamondo can be very useful if you already have a ritual in the graveyard. You need to have like 2 rituals in the grave to make the full use of this dude. But he can just straight up, you know, shuffle cards back into the deck if your opponent's got like nothing left. it's got potential to like finish off a duel. It's just very situational. 1 copy Unicorn to go with our Masquerena, 1 copy Blacklisted Soldier in case weird things happen and we run out of Demiurgy. By the way, we have 2 copies of Demiurgy. He's a very powerful dude. All you need is 3 level 5 or higher monsters. Use monsters with different types and attributes. You just, as a once per turn nuke. He also has another effect, which if my opponent summons from the extra deck, what was the other effect of this thing again? I can summon a World Legacy from the deck. So if you want to throw in like Crown, that is an option in this deck. Where is World Legacy Crown actually? I'm just the last minute thing. I know. This dude, because he's got like an inherent negation of summon from the extra deck. So that's an option too. We have our 1 Lancelot in case we just need to hit our opponent really hard, direct attack with this thing. He also has an Omni Negate and a Pop. Very, very versatile monster. If my opponent really wants their graveyard setup, Santa Fond is your card to go into. A Dingirzu is an excellent tech in this deck because we can summon this thing out alongside Demiurgy to nuke my opponent without nuking myself. We also have numbers 38 and his S38 form, which I really like this duo. This negates spells, this steals spells. It's pretty good. Finally, we have Herald the Arclight, which goes with our Diviner. He just ditches to the graveyard to get out more rituals. It's just more deck consistency there. Lastly, we go into the side deck, and yeah, there's like the World Legacy's World Crown there, which you can use with Demiurgy if you just want to have an additional thing to interrupt your opponent. One thing I did briefly consider with this deck are the Unchained, because if you pop like the spell traps, then you get to summon out monsters from the deck, which is pretty dang useful. And you know, there is some potential of that being a side strategy in this deck. The only problem is that with Unchained, they're all fiends, so you can't use them to make Demiurgy, which is like that's the one thing that stopped me from doing it. I really was thinking about it, but then I was like, they're all fiends. It doesn't work. They have to be different typings. So it's an option if you don't want to have Dingirzu, or you don't have it for some reason. Then you could potentially pop some of the back row to summon out Unchained, go into like Unchained Soul Rage in order to interrupt your opponent again. It's all up to you, but it's an option if anything else. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you guys very much enjoyed today's episode. Until tomorrow for the next 93 days of the 100 days of Yu-Gi-Oh! Y'all stay safe, y'all stay happy. Y'all have a good one. Take care.